What's up, everybody? This is Todd. Thank you guys so much for tuning into my channel. Today, I wanted to talk to you about really how I became a millionaire at such a young age. And to learn just how I became a millionaire, all you guys have to do is buy my Amazon FBA course for $497.
No, God! No, God, please, no!
Just kidding. But seriously though, on a real note, I did become a millionaire at the age of 25, and I want to talk to you guys just going step by step exactly how I did it. So first, let me just preface this by saying I dropped out of school when I was 22. I am not saying that is what you should do. I'm not advocating that that's what anyone out there should do. Do what's best for you. And for a lot of people out there, quite frankly, for most people out there, a degree is still the way to have a high income and to use that high income to build wealth. For me personally, school wasn't for me. I got to college. Frankly, the mistake that I made was I stayed in school a bit too long. I should have dropped out earlier. I dropped out when I had about a year left, maybe a year and a half, and I actually had student loans at the time. That is the absolute worst thing you can do, is to have student loans and to have no degree. So I don't recommend that to anyone. And I did pay off all my student loans and we're good now. But moving forward, here's what I did. I dropped out of school and I took a job that pays you not just for your time, but they pay you based on results. Now, I did have a base salary coming right out of school. When I first started, my base salary was only $50,000, but I was making 9% commission on sales. And for me, because I didn't have a degree, I figured I would just have to outwork everyone. So I was pretty much always the first one in the office. I was the last one to leave. I made sure to make just a crazy amount of cold calls and email campaigns and social media marketing and just do a whole bunch of things to separate myself from the competition. 8 months into that job, I had broken a few records. I had done really well. Production was incredible and the sales were coming through. And my salary pretty much doubled overnight.
Nice.
I remember it clearly because one of the goals that I had set for myself when I was a kid was I wanted to be making six figures by the time I was 23 years old. And I actually got my first six-figure contract, I think the day before my birthday. It was incredible.
Nice.
So I'd already made a lot of commission, and my base salary, I got a raise of like $4,100 per month. That was my raise just in the guarantee. And then my commissions went up to 40%. That's how my income got high and all that stuff, but really this is how I actually became a millionaire. So every cent that I could, I put it all away, knowing that I would eventually invest in real estate. I don't think that people should save money just for the sake of savings. Save money to invest, because the return that you're going to get into a savings account, even a high yield savings account, is going to be between 2 and 3% on any meaningful balances. I do have some saving accounts that I have money strategically placed in there. One pays me 8% for the first 500, another one pays me 6% for the first 1,000. But generally speaking, even with the high interest savings accounts, there's going to be a limit to how much you can have in there and get that return, or it's going to be 2 to 3%. Where in real estate, in mutual funds, in stocks, even bonds, and even T-bills, you can pretty much get a better return. What I did was every dollar that I made, I tried to save as much as I possibly could. I was making six figures and I was renting a room in a house. I didn't own this house at the time. It was just a house that I was renting a room of. I lived with a bunch of strangers, and I didn't even buy a bed, you guys. I slept on the floor in this tiny room of this house, and I did that for 9 months while I was making a six-figure income. So again, I'm not saying that's what any of you out there should do. Obviously, some of you are married and you have kids or you're a little bit older, and that just wouldn't work. But that's how I was able to save a huge chunk of change. My first rental house, my wife and I bought it when we were 23 years old. At the time, we weren't actually even engaged. We were just dating. So people were looking at us all kind of sideways. But that first house, it cost $506,000. And we had a first-time home buyer program of 3.5% down. So out of pocket, we put about $19,000 down for that house. For those of you out there that are thinking 19 grand is a lot of money and you don't know that you would be able to come up with that, just remember that there are zero down programs. And again, that was at a $500,000 house. Maybe where you live, houses aren't that expensive and you can afford, a house that's in the $250,000 to $350,000 range and you could come up with less. Basically, my wife and I bought this house and we decided that we were going to live in the master bedroom and that we would rent out the other bedrooms that were in this house. Now, this particular property, it was 3 stories. It had a 3-car garage. It had a total of 6 bedrooms. So my wife and I, we took the master bedroom and we took one of the little, I guess it's a den. The 6th bedroom was a den. I kept that as my office for the first year. In hindsight, I should have rented that out too, by the way. So we were occupying the master bedroom in the office and we rented out the 4 other rooms. Now at the time, we didn't really know how to price those rooms right. We were just very new. So we priced the rooms so we basically lived for free. Our mortgage payment was completely covered. When I made the ad to rent out these rooms in the house, all of the bedrooms were taken in a matter of a weekend. So I created a listing, I did tours, and I showed the room and I had tenants. We had a full house. So we bought this house mid-December of 2015. By January 1st, all 4 of our tenants moved in for a January 1 effective date. And so we basically lived alone for 2 weeks and we had roommates the rest of the time we were living there. Now, 9 months later, we bought a second house, which was right across the street. It was a 6-bedroom, 3-bathroom house. And that house, I did have to put 20% down. If you buy a house owner occupied, you have to live in that house usually for 12 months before you can buy another owner occupied house. But this house, it was new construction, it was coming up. I knew that we couldn't just wait around for it to be the full year. It would have sold, and we really wanted this property. So we did put 20% down on the second house, and that second house, I believe it was $525,000. But the same thing happened where I posted an ad, and in a matter of maybe 5-6 days, all 6 of those rooms were rented out. And they were rented out to be well above and beyond the mortgage. I think after the mortgage, tax, and insurance, we were cash flowing about $2,000 per month on that property. Plus we were still living for free in our own house right across the street. 3 months after that, the 12 month from when we bought our first property, owner occupied, that had come up. So we bought our 3rd house just 3 months after buying our second house. Our 3rd house cost $540,000, but we were able to buy it owner occupied and only put 10% down. Had that money because, again, I worked in sales, very lucrative industry. All the commission, I was just stockpiling. Plus, when you live for free, you're really saving a ton of money. Not to mention, in addition to living for free, I was secret shopping, so most of my food was taken care of as well. We moved into the 3rd house. My wife and I, actually at the time, it was my fiance. We did get engaged after buying that first house. But my fiance and I moved into the 3rd house. We moved into the master bedroom, another 6-bedroom house. Instead of keeping a room as an office this time, we rented that out as well. So we were living in this house. We had 5 roommates, plus we had the house we had just bought 3 months prior, where 6 people were living in that. The house that we were originally living in, we rented out our master bedroom to another person, and then the den that we were keeping as an office, we rented that out as well. So now we had 3 properties. In the property that we lived in, we had 5 roommates, and the other 2 properties, we had a total of 6 tenants. So we were making really, really good money at that point. About a year later, we bought our 4th house. We were able to do that with 10% down. After that, we bought our 5th house. And a year and a half after that, we bought this duplex that I'm living in right now, which is our 6th property. Basically, the timeline of it all is through real estate, through buying these properties. I became a millionaire when I was 25 years old. And part of it is because appreciation. I bought in an undervalued area that was going through a transition right outside the city of Seattle. So that first house that we bought in December of 2015, 2 years later, it appraised for $180,000 more than what we paid for it, which is insane. Remember, we only put $19,000 into that house and then our roommates pay the mortgage for us. So we put $19,000 in and 2 years later, it appreciated to $180,000 more than what we paid for it. So 19 grand into 180 grand, just speaking about equity, that was a huge return over 2 years. That was like a 940% return. That was insane.
Hey, hey, hey.
That house now, it pays us, so we collect about $6,000 per month on that house. After mortgage, taxes, insurance, after all the utilities that we pay, what we profit is about $25,000. But again, we only put $19,000 into it. That's what we put down. And we're getting $25,000 per year back in cash flow. So that is over a 100% cash on cash return.
What's up, big
I know a lot of folks out there are talking about how you should strive to get 8%. On one real estate deal, we are getting over 100%.
Be connect! Wow! Be connect!
It is absolutely insane. But basically the formula is this. We bought a house, we moved into the master bedroom, and then we decided to rent out the other bedrooms. Rinse and repeat that formula so you're living for free, plus making some money off the top. At our third house, when we moved into it, we were living in the master bedroom. We had 5 roommates. We were actually living completely for free. They were paying our mortgage, taxes, and insurance, and we were collecting an additional $1,000 per month in profit for living in our own house. And then we bought the next house, we did the same thing. We were living for free. The profit was a little bit higher. It was at $1,500. At this house, it's insane. Right now, we live in this house completely for free. Plus, we house hack this side of the duplex. We have 3 roommates here. On the other side of the duplex, we have an Airbnb, which is bringing in $3,000 per month in the off season, about $6,000 per month on the peak season. And then we have the Airbnb downstairs, which is bringing in about $1,500 per month in the off season, $3,000 per month in the peak season. But just in the off season, we live completely for free. Plus we make $1,800 per month in profit by living in our free house.
I am right now independently, financially independently.
So house hacking is definitely something that I think everyone here should do. It's incredible. It's been life-changing for us. And I want to make a lot of content about how to get your first property, how to get your credit up to make sure that you can qualify for a loan, what to look for when you're looking for roommates or tenants. And I'll be coming up with content about all of that. But in a nutshell, that's pretty much how we did it. We worked our off. We didn't spend any money on stupid stuff. We invested every penny that we could. We lived severely below our means, like severely below. Today, we have a net worth of well over $1 million. We share 1 car. We live in a duplex. There are 3 roommates on our half, and then we rent out the other side. Before this house, we were living with 6 roommates, and we still shared 1 car. So again, think about that for a second. We were millionaires, and we were living in a house that we owned, but we had 6 roommates, and we were sharing 1 car between me and my wife. So it's about sacrifice, it's about living beneath your means, and investing everything you can, just throwing it into your business, and now we can pretty much do whatever we want. Thank you so much for tuning in. Feel free to follow me on Instagram, and if you want to follow me on TikTok, it's pretty much just me dancing around like an idiot and trolling all the people on TikTok that take dance tutorials entirely too seriously. All right, guys, thank you. I'll see you next time.